Wyoming is renowned for its breathtaking natural landscapes. Among its crown jewels is Yellowstone National Park, the world's very first national park, offering a wealth of natural wonders. Here, visitors encounter iconic sights like the Old Faithful Geyser, the vibrant Grand Prismatic Spring, and an impressive array of wildlife, including bison and wolves roaming freely across the park's expansive wilderness. Nearby, Grand Teton National Park draws travelers with its majestic peaks, providing a paradise for hiking, fishing, and photography. In the colder months, the small town of Jackson Hole transforms into a prime destination for world-class skiing, attracting winter sports enthusiasts from around the globe. But Wyoming is not just a state of natural beauty, it's also deeply steeped in cowboy culture. Each year, rodeo events celebrate the authentic spirit of the American West, preserving a unique and time-honored tradition that draws both locals and visitors alike. Beneath its stunning allure, however, Wyoming holds an enigmatic side, a darker narrative that rarely reaches public awareness. Wyoming, a rugged state nestled in the western mountain region of the United States, shares borders with Montana, South Dakota, Nebraska, Idaho, Utah, and Colorado. Despite its vast expanse, the state had a population of only around 576,851 in 2020, making it the second least densely populated state after Alaska. Wyoming's rugged terrain and extreme climate pose significant challenges for building densely populated communities. Historically, it was often seen as a transitional territory for westward-bound migrants, contributing to its slower population growth and quieter way of life. Yet, despite its sparse population, Wyoming's iconic landmarks attract millions of visitors each year. The state hosts major rodeo events, such as the Cheyenne Frontier Days, and offers a variety of festivals, including the Jackson Hole Arts Festival and the Wyoming Brewers Festival. Economically, Wyoming is heavily reliant on its mining sector. Coal, oil, and natural gas extraction remain critical industries alongside a thriving tourism sector. In recent years, Wyoming has also emerged as a leader in blockchain technology, welcoming thousands of cryptocurrency companies. With its pioneering role in women's suffrage, Wyoming proudly wears the title of the Equality State and holds a unique place in history for establishing the first national monument in the United States, Devil's Tower, in 1906. Yet, behind the state's sweeping landscapes and tranquil small towns, Wyoming conceals a lesser-known reality. Beyond its picturesque settings lies a more challenging side of life for some residents, marked by issues like homelessness, unemployment, a gritty nightlife, and troubling struggles with drug addiction and rising crime rates. This often hidden side reveals complexities that stand in stark contrast to Wyoming's serene and pristine natural image. Amid Wyoming's natural splendor and wealthy enclaves like Jackson Hole, home to billionaires and luxury retreats, lies a striking divide. Beneath the picturesque surface, there is a sharp disparity in wealth and access to basic needs. According to 2022 data from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, approximately 648 people in Wyoming experienced homelessness on a single night. Adjusted for population, this equates to roughly 11.2 individuals for every 10,000 residents, placing Wyoming 24th nationally in homelessness rates. Even more concerning, an estimated 90.1% of these individuals lacked consistent shelter, making Wyoming the second highest state in the nation for its proportion of unsheltered homeless people. The town of Jackson in Teton County, a region renowned for its wealth, has one of the highest income inequality gaps in the United States. the top 1% of earners in Jackson take in an average annual income of around $22 million, while the average worker earns only about $94,000. This extreme disparity has made affordable housing nearly unattainable for regular working-class residents, who often find themselves priced out of even modest living spaces and left vulnerable to homelessness. For the homeless in Jackson, survival becomes a daily challenge, especially in the brutal winter months. Despite the town's immense affluence, efforts to provide affordable housing for its essential workforce are limited. Many find themselves caught in a harsh reality, struggling to get by in a place celebrated for its opulence, but where affordable shelter is increasingly out of reach. The contrast is stark. A glamorous resort town on one side, and on the other, a segment of its population left facing the bitter reality of life without a roof over their heads.
Then I did the deluxe shack right here. That's the deluxe model, by the way.
Wyoming's nightlife. Wyoming's nightlife, while modest compared to major metropolitan areas, has a troubling underside, with issues like human trafficking casting a shadow over the state. Despite low official case counts, experts suspect the true scale of trafficking is much larger. In areas like Cheyenne, cases of sex trafficking often go undocumented or are misidentified, hiding within the fabric of conservative, close-knit communities where such crimes are rarely discussed openly. A 2021 report from the Human Trafficking Institute revealed that, nationwide, there were 140 new cases of human trafficking involving 449 victims, with 92% linked to sex trafficking and 8% involving forced labor. Notably, more than half of the sex trafficking cases involved minors. Wyoming itself reported only one federal trafficking case in 2021, a slight rise from 0 cases in 2020. Yet, neighboring states like South Dakota, with 59 cases, and Nebraska, with 13, highlight Wyoming's lower numbers, which experts believe are more likely a reflection of underreporting than a true absence of the crime. Though recent national data show a decline in reported trafficking cases, Wyoming and nearby states remain vulnerable to trafficking networks. The state's efforts to train law enforcement officers in recognizing trafficking indicators are crucial, but Wyoming's cultural stigma and societal norms can impede progress. The young, particularly those caught up in trafficking rings, are at great risk and often lack access to healthcare and protective services. Wyoming's location makes it susceptible to being a transit point for trafficking networks moving across state lines. And this darker side of its nightlife reflects a reality that most residents seldom see.
When he told me about the adult entertainment business, I didn't understand that it was an upscale call girl. I wasn't even aware of the fact that it was prostitution.
While Wyoming may not be known for notorious gangster activities like those in larger cities, crime remains prevalent in certain towns and regions across the state. Cheyenne, for example, ranks low on safety indexes, considered safer than only 5% of U.S. cities. The state's crime rate is high for its size, with an average of 3,455 crimes per 100,000 people, placing Wyoming among states with relatively high crime rates. Crime in Wyoming generally falls into two main categories: violent crime and property crime. Violent crime includes domestic violence, assaults, and occasionally more severe offenses, while property crime covers theft, robbery, and vandalism. Limited employment opportunities and economic struggles often drive some residents to illegal activities as a means of survival, creating a cycle of hardship that fosters higher crime levels. For a state celebrated for its landscapes and rural tranquility, these underlying issues reveal a different side of Wyoming, one where crime and hardship intersect, shaping a complex social landscape beyond the scenic vistas. Drug addiction, particularly the methamphetamine crisis, has plagued Wyoming for decades, hitting some communities especially hard. One of the areas most affected is the Wind River Reservation, home to the Northern Arapaho and Eastern Shoshone tribes. The reservation has faced chronic drug issues, with methamphetamine use leading to dire social consequences. From 2000 to 2006, drug possession incidents increased by 163%. Domestic violence cases rose by 218%, and child neglect cases jumped by 131%. By 2020, the Northern Arapaho Tribal Council declared a state of emergency due to the rampant meth use within the community. Wind River's challenges reflect the deep-seated impacts of historical colonialism, which left a legacy of poverty and despair among Native American populations. The difficult conditions here make the reservation vulnerable to drug cartels, which exploit community vulnerabilities to infiltrate with meth. The drug's presence has fueled cycles of violence, unemployment, and family fragmentation. Local residents like Alan and Mirjam Peel have tried to make a difference by founding a church and providing a rehab center, but without broader government support, efforts to address the crisis face significant obstacles. Alongside drug and crime issues, Wyoming is also known for its vast sheep ranching industry, which relies heavily on migrant labor to tend sheep on its sweeping rangelands. But beneath the surface of this age-old industry lies a troubling reality. Sheep herders often endure harsh working conditions. Many work grueling hours with little access to sufficient food, safety equipment, or even a vehicle to escape should they face danger. In some cases, employers confiscate workers' passports and restrict their communication, ensuring these herders remain tied to the job. Reports of abuse and threats against workers occasionally reach authorities when a few manage to escape and seek help. But for most, there is no clear path to freedom. They endure conditions akin to modern-day slavery, a dark reality rarely highlighted in national media, but revealing the hidden exploitation within an industry that appears clean on the surface. While Wyoming boasts spectacular landscapes and an outward appearance of quiet life, it hides an array of social and economic issues. From stark income inequality in Jackson Hole to the meth crisis in Wind River, from homelessness to human trafficking, Wyoming wrestles with challenges deeply rooted in its history and structural limitations. This state is a reminder of the complexity facing many parts of the United States, where social and economic inequities continue to create difficult conditions for portions of the population.